Alright, so yesterday the trailer for Spider-Man 2 came out, and I was very pleased with it. Now, what I have to say is, I am starting to get concerned on who Venom is. Now, Venom could very well be Harry or Peter. I'll make a separate video talking about who I actually think it is. But this video is kind of more of like a simple breakdown, in my opinion, on the trailer that we got, and, let's just get into it. Alright, now let's actually talk about this trailer. So, now, I'm just going to be talking about some simple Easter eggs about the trailer. Now, there is a scene in the trailer where we see Miles and Peter in, like, a fire situation, and we see a certain character that people might not know if they, didn't play the DLCs of the first game, and that is Wraith. It's either Wrath or Wraith, I don't know. Now, that is the character Yuri that Peter Parker was good friends with, or Spider-Man was good friends with. And Yuri was kind of like I don't know what's a good way to say. She was like a police officer that Spider-Man kind of reported to in the first game a lot. So it's cool that we're gonna see her as the villain, because she kind of we saw her character collapse pretty much in that in the Turf Wars DLC. Very excited to see where that goes, and we also got a few missions to do in the third DLC. I mean, they were mid-missions, but, they were something to do in that DLC besides the whole story, which I didn't mind the DLC stories, but they could have been better. But, get your money, you get your $15 out of it, that I paid $15 for 3 DLCs, and I felt good about it. And so, yeah, that's the character that this villain is, and I saw someone thought that was Ghost Rider. I'm sorry, it's not Ghost Rider, that's Yuri from the previous game. And very excited. I don't think that's going to be a hard boss fight, especially if we have... Actually, we probably won't have Symbiote, because in this scene... This is probably, beginning of the game, I'm thinking. Second boss fight, I could see that happening. I think that'd be cool. I just don't see this happening later in the game. I definitely just see this happening very early on. And, yeah. So, a few more details is J. Jonah Jameson will be back at the Daily Bugle. In the first game, he had a little podcast that we were forced to listen to, and in Miles Morales we were forced to, but we got a second podcast, and that was alright, I guess. We had to listen to that during the game. And he's back at the Daily Bugle, and MJ works for him, so interesting that MJ, in this version of the Spider-Man story, that MJ works for Jonah Jameson instead of, Peter Parker himself. So that's an interesting, Sorry, the voicing cut off. I just think that was an interesting take on the Peter Parker working for J. Jonah Jameson, but now it's going to be MJ instead of that. But it is set in canon that he did eventually work at the Daily Bugle. No, not eventually. He used to work at the Daily Bugle until he quit the job, and then I think MJ kind of went there and worked for him. So, what else is there to talk about? Oh, there's a bunch to talk about. Okay, so there's a scene in the trailer that I am very worried for a certain character. Now, MJ is being hunted, it looks like, by Peter, and I don't know what's going to happen. So, this is probably going to be an MJ stealth mission, kind of like from the first game that we got a few of those. I didn't really care for them that much. Now, I'm not a person that's going to be like, oh, these are the worst missions in history for a game, because they really aren't. There's worse missions out there. And I don't really mind them. They take me 2 to 3 minutes. Some of y'all might just, I'll be good at those levels. I mean, they're not hard. I do them in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It's not that bad. Because it just is not that bad. It really isn't. Some of y'all are just complaining a little too much. So, the scene where MJ is being hunted by Peter, I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't think they're going to kill off MJ. I just don't, especially by Peter's hands. I just don't think that's going to happen. There's also a point in the trailer where it shows Harry kind of limping, and in the beginning of the trailer it says he's getting a second chance, and we think he's been healed because we know he's been sick for the past 2 games. He's been in that tube, but I saw this one YouTuber called 3C Films. He did a video on this. He was this healing thing is probably just a little temporary, and I completely agree. I do not think this thing is the thing that keeping Harry alive is going to be keeping Harry well for very long. So it is probably temporary, and again will lead into why Harry might be Venom and Peter might be Venom. Obviously, I'll make a separate video on that. I've already said that in this video, so I need to stop repeating that because it's going to get a little annoying. But yeah, that's another interesting detail, like, that can show him ascending into madness, kind of like Peter is. And he looks a little evil in that scene, like he's making the face, like, I don't know. He's getting mad. Sorry, that was kind of weird. Anyways, what should we talk about next? There's a scene in the trailer where we see Peter in the symbiote suit. Like, he has all of the symbiote stuff going everywhere. He is covering the lizard. And we see the lizard let off a big roar. And obviously, loud sounds are a weakness of the symbiote suit. And obviously, if you're a main Spider-Man fan and you know the Venom story, you know that is a big weakness of his. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see that fight play out. Like, after that point, like, Peter is going to notice that the suit has weaknesses. It does not make him an invincible person. Another problem is, if if Peter does become Venom, Miles will have to fight Peter, and I don't know if Insomniac's Miles could beat Insomniac's Peter. And another thing that I would not mind to see is if Peter somehow got to tame the symbiote by the end of the game, so Peter could be on par with Miles, because Miles has the lightning abilities, the invisibility abilities. But Peter's just some normal Spider-Man, you know. I think something like giving him the symbiote suit would be cool. But at the same time, it's kind of, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I saw someone point that out, and I was like, I just don't know. I mean, it'd be cool in my opinion, but just, I don't know. Peter keeping the symbiote suit would probably be not the best idea, but it would be an interesting idea. And I just don't know if Miles could beat Peter in that symbiote form. Now, another thing that I'm wondering is if that electricity is going to really be a good defense against the what's it called? Symbiote suit. I can't think of it now. I think it could be a good defense for Miles, and I think that's one way that we could lead into him beating Peter. That'd be cool. I'm excited. I just don't know if Miles could beat a full-on symbiote PlayStation Peter Parker. I just don't know. This is the Arkham version of Spider-Man. You know, the Arkham Batman is like the craziest of the Batmans. Yeah, this is the craziest of the Spider-Mans. This Spider-Man is soloing the 3 Spider-Man all together. I don't care what y'all say. This guy is 10 times stronger than Tobey, and Tobey's definitely the strongest out of the 3 of the main Spider-Man, in my opinion. Listen, Tom Holland got crumbled by that building, but Tobey just sat there and put the building on 2 of his arms behind his back in front of MJ, just standing up perfectly fine on that humongous wall. That's a big steel wall. That's going to be really heavy even for Spider-Man. And then obviously you got this PlayStation Peter holding up a whole crane with 2 spider webs, and then Tobey holding up a train, which was pretty crazy, but oh well. Like, there's some videos that you can see some power scaling. I just believe the PS4 could destroy all 3 Spider-Man. Yeah, anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this video. This lasted a lot longer than I wanted it to. Hope this video gets more than 12 views. Please subscribe, like the video. Goodbye.